Welcome
Action.
back, everybody. This is Daily Crossing episode number 7.
Yes.
This is the
Bam.
lucky 7. Lucky 7. I like 7. That's
that's
one of
your
my favorite numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on
talk
many.
about it
I
all
mean,
the time.
I can give you a
I
number
like
of reasons, but
He likes thousands.
I like 8.
And millions.
yeah,
I like
yeah,
8
yeah.
too.
I like
I
8.
like an 8.
But great to have you, everybody.
Number 8
We-
should be like awesome.
We definitely have a lot to cover, so we've got to see if we can get moving and squeeze this in right now. Guys, State of the Union, obviously we got to touch on that. Obviously the president has the biggest mic out there. He
Yes,
gets
yes.
everybody gets to hear it. And then, as you know, there's always also a response. That response was provided by Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And we're going to touch on both messages a little bit. Needless to say, the situation going on in Turkey right now, Syria, the earthquake, our heart goes out to the number is now surpassing 21,000. When this happened immediately, I don't know if you remember this, right? We went from like immediately 100 was reported, and then it jumped to 500,000, and then 500, 400, right? And then literally, by the time we got to the night, it went from 1,800, 2,300. We woke up at 2,300, and then the very next, and during the course of that day, became 5,000 people, 11,000. Now 21,000 people dying.
They're still finding people.
There is no way to describe
Like
it.
alive.
You look at some of the images, man. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So we'll go back to that. The capital of Oklahoma. There was a significant protest. You know what I mean? Looked a little bit like what we had happening on January 6th, but
No, not
maybe not. We're gonna touch on that. It was a lot lighter. Is that what
Yeah,
you
it
want
was
to say?
very-
That's
All right, we're gonna touch on what triggered that. I think it's super important for
Yeah.
people to know. How about the Satan's showing up at the Grammys? You know what I mean? It's like,
I didn't know that.
you know what I mean? You didn't know that. you
You
know?
made a visit.
Apparently,
That's
Jesus
funny.
is not welcome. Muhammad is not welcome. Moses is
hilarious.
not welcome. But Satan, remember, his former name is Lucifer. You know what I mean? The which translate to the light or the enlightened one. So.
It's different.
But guys, I'm gonna tell you, if you got any feedback on that, I would love to hear it because
I got some.
it was an incredible show.
Yes.
And then obviously we
Yeah,
gotta touch a
feedback
little
on
bit
something he
on
hasn't
on Chat GPT. Is everybody getting ready to lose their job to something that
Yes.
is not gonna look like us?
I don't
Because
think so.
apparently, well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see where this goes. A couple of other things that I want to touch upon, though. I don't know if you know. Today there was a very significant ruling that, being that we are in Orlando, Florida,
Okay.
Disney is only a few blocks away from us, and obviously a few significant rulings that took place. There was a vote that happened with changing the status of Disney. You know what I mean? As you know, for many years was treated as an independent district.
Okay.
And based on some of the things that took place just recently, literally arguments between the former CEO of Disney and Ron DeSantis, who I want to touch a little bit also about
No
Ron,
more
DeS-
Reedy Creek.
Ron DeSantis. I know, you know what I mean?
Crazy. It's the end of an era.
Reedy Creek, I don't know if they're going to rename it, and I believe they're going to rename it to the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District. No more Reedy Creek Improvement District. So we're going to touch on what does that mean on terms.
Yeah.
So is that going to become a liability to the other counties around? And apparently this was designed in a way that it's just literally what it does. It takes control away from Disney. At some point, it was like Disney was the wrong
Gotcha.
little country in
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
they can do it.
I find this to be a horrible mistake by a CEO whose only responsibility is to make sure that they can provide a good experience for the people that are coming to
Mhm.
Disney, and also make sure that their investors are walking away with some profits. How did they get caught up with so many things that are really nonsense? It's hard to explain it, right? Nicaragua, guys, I want to say something about Nicaragua just because right now about 222 people, depending on who's saying it, right? Fox News is reporting it as 222 people were deported.
222.
222.
Fox News.
Very good number also, right?
Uh-huh.
222 was the Nicaragua, according to NPR, right? And you want to see the
It's 50
difference of
people.
language. No. The
Oh.
difference of language has managed to free or has set free 222 people. So I don't know what's wrong with Fox News, you know what I mean, talking about people getting deported just because. By the way, how about we touch upon the fact that it was a former political prisoners that found out that they were getting deported literally by being taken to the airport at the airplane door. You have to sign a little piece of paper saying, we are sending you out of the country to United States. To be quite honest with you, if I've been in Nicaragua my whole life, I don't know there's that much punishment. What do you mean? I don't have to go through Guatemala, Mexico. I don't have to walk. I don't have to cross a river. I don't have to cross a like. You're gonna put me in a plane and you're sending me out there, and they gotta take me because now I qualify for political asylum. So that wasn't so bad. Now, all kidding aside, though, you know, you have some people that wanted to do something for the country. They're fighting for the removal of somebody who really is. I don't understand why everybody is so confused about Nayib Bukele being considered a potential dictator. This guy is a dictator. This is what a dictator looks like, right? This is the guy that's hanging out with the Maduros and that crew. That so the fact that this is happening in front of us, that can potentially create another conflict in the area, is difficult to process. But I do want to mention back on that there is a bishop, Catholic bishop, that has been voicing his concerns about the human rights abuses that are taking place, and he was taken in. He's been in prison. He's been, and I'm going to tell you, taking a bishop in, especially that's a very sensitive area. You know what I mean? Where in El Salvador you have somebody like Monsignor Oscar Romero, who was killed, you know what I mean, and eventually was, it's a big name, became a saint, played a significant role. So to have a bishop, a sitting bishop, I'd like to know what would be the opinion of our current pope about what's going on with this scenario. And I would love to know what exactly are the rest of the cardinals, the College of Cardinals, and all the bishops are thinking about what's taking place in there. Because to be quite honest with you, I don't hear anybody really making an issue or pronouncing themselves with the strength that is needed to make it clear that it's not okay, right? There's something like that. This day and age, if you have to do something like that or take that kind of action, it's just unacceptable. But with that being said, guys, how about we talk a little bit about, State of the Union? Like, where were you?
I don't even know.
Did you watch
I
it?
had to take a nap in the middle of it.
I might have been in the hospital at the. I'm not sure. No, I seen highlight. I didn't see it live. I seen highlights of it.
I saw the recording.
Yes, but I felt like I don't know, Biden. He got a lot of confidence, in his message, as far as what he's doing. Not sure how much of it has been done or not been done, but he sounds like he feels good about the way things are going based off of the way he sounded, So, like I said, I thought it was interesting. It was interesting. For me.
So by the way, and this is really sad to say that it's like everybody was expecting him to fumble a little more, and he didn't. So I think that's the sharpest we have seen him.
Yeah, he said he
in like
confident.
in a long. I don't know what he was taking, but he should be taking that more
all the time.
All the time.
Looks like he took a very good nap.
He was ready. He was ready.
I'm like, wow, I don't know if he spent like the last year practicing that speech, and that's why he screwed up. Anyway, so that's one side. The second thing is, I thought this was like a State of the Union, meaning what is currently happening, and so there was a lot of, we were talking to Nori, and there was a lot of dream selling. It felt more like a campaign speech versus a here's what's happening. I don't know how you can manage to speak for an hour and not speak about how expensive food is, gas prices, and all of that stuff. He touched something about
So he
refineries.
did say, we are $1.50. Guys, this is the actual.
You did the script.
Oh, wow.
No.
I didn't read it.
The full.
I didn't. I listened to it at two times speed, just so you know.
I
I may have missed it.
I went line by line reading this
Oh,
bit.
That's
wow.
funny.
I wanted
Okay.
to see
Yeah.
with little notes.
So he
here
did
and
talk
there
about gas,
that.
and he talked about egg
He
prices.
did talk about not about
egg
eggs, but he
prices,
definitely
okay. I
you
was
know,
sold a dream. I just don't think, I don't know how accurate that was. Actually, I do know how accurate that was.
But
And
that's-
it's being currently felt. It
To
wasn't accurate
me,
at
I
all.
feel like, but that's kind of his job to do that, or anybody's job. You're always gonna sell yourself. You're never gonna be like, "Hey, I'm doing horrible. Hey,
No, I
things are bad."
understand. But it's a State of the Union. It's not a campaign speech.
Yeah, but still, you got to think of at any point in time. If the president is talking, there's never a time where you want things to seem like things are worse than it is.
But
you always want it to sound better than it is. You always want us to have a message that's encouraging. So even if things aren't going the way you want it, I'm gonna make it sound awesome.
Well, so here's the thing. I don't know if you heard it, but he said like 17,000 times, let's finish the job. I don't think any job got started, you know? So it's like, I will buy the language of let's get some, let's get to work.
Gotcha.
Let's get to work. But finish the job. What actual job got started? I have no
I got
clue.
you, but I understand.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that me as the person having that speech, I can't say, "Hey guys, I didn't do anything yet so far," but we're gonna get started today. No,
Actually-
I'm gonna say, you know what? We've been doing good. We've been getting a lot of things done so far. Let's just keep going. So that's you have to have that message.
have
I'm not saying that your
I would
point
love
is
to
valid.
know
I feel like
the,
you have to have
I
that
would love to
message.
know the team of speech writers. Like, I would love to be in that table,
Yes,
like
yes,
because
yes.
they actually
Correct,
put together,
correct.
Struggled.
and they write it, and then one of them just starts laughing, like, and like, what are you laughing? I said, they're not gonna believe this. Like, put it in. Sounds good. Put it. That doesn't matter.
You have to.
Listen, I went line by line.
I see
There's a
that.
couple of things that I will mention, though. You know what I mean? What they would obviously, and I agree with you. Right? I mean, it's like he's not gonna go in there and say, "Okay, guys, listen,
Yeah.
we killing the country." This is like, I don't know what
Can't say
happened.
that.
Just, we got some work to do.
You know,
We got some
so,
work to do.
but
Here.
here's a real problem, though, when you have people that they want to believe because they so sold out to one political party,
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter what it is. They just want to believe it so badly. And then you have another person who's going to say, who literally says, "We're going to tell you what to believe." It's like, ignore your lying eyes and ignore your lying
can't pay your
bank
bills.
account,
Yeah.
right? Ignore your lying bank account, and let me tell you how things are really going,
No.
right?
Yeah,
And so,
I don't buy it.
but literally, and here's one of the lines, right? To rebuild the backbone of Americans, to rebuild the backbone of America, the middle class. And here's the one thing that the Democrats have done a phenomenal job doing, is to pretend that they are the actual political party fighting for the middle class, while at the same time destroying the middle class. Do you think that a guy who's a billionaire right now is concerned about the price of gas, eggs, or anything that's happening at the supermarket? That
no.
guy hasn't been to the supermarket
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right?
Or as he was building it. Yeah.
Correct. or probably owns multiple of them. You
Yes.
know what I mean? But when you have somebody that is talking about middle class, right? That the people that actually have some level of buying power, people that they still have the capability, they're not waiting for any kind of handouts. They actually go out there and participate in the economy. They put something in. And the fact that a lot of many of the actions that are taken always by Democrats eventually will have a negative impact in the middle class. The fact that Republicans don't know how to make a better argument about that, right? I find that unbelievable. I find that, and I will tell you, there's another component. I can't even tell you how many times I read emotional, 100% emotion, and like I said, as you can see,
There was a lot of money being given away, by the way, because it's like we gotta expand on this program and we gotta expand on this program and this program too. And my question is, with all of the debt that we keep on accumulating, how in the hell are we gonna pay for it? You know?
Well, I mean, this to me is a bigger issue. Again, one of the lines says, it says, he said every time somebody starts a small business, right? And here we are, right? We participate in
Yeah,
that small
we're
business
that.
environment, right?
That's us.
And people, by the way, a lot of the people that literally make the choice to start a small business, most of them did it out of necessity. I had a job. I lost my job. I want to go back to do something. I can't. Like this thing is not there anymore. That restaurant that used to be. You know what? Let me see if I can open one. And he said it's an act of hope. But then the question is, do you make it easier for the
No,
small
what they
business
want
owner
to
to
do is
become,
raise the minimum wage so that the small business owner cannot afford to have
becomes
employees.
impossible for them to be able
Mm-hmm.
to, and the other thing is when they're talking about these big corporations paying their fair share, right? Which I love that line. It's just, as long as there's a bad guy somewhere, right? When you think about that, you gotta think about the following though. If you actually believe, and I'm asking everybody to consider this, if you actually believe that somebody that is a very large corporation, whose taxes were just raised or they are being forced to raise minimum, any kind of payroll structure, whatever it is that you want to do. If you actually believe that that cost is not going to be passed on to either the product or the consumer,
Yeah.
which pass it on to the product, if this became more expensive and I'm the guy buying it,
You gotta pay more.
those guys are making the same amount of money, maybe even more percentage wise.
Right.
Yep.
Right? I'm the only guy losing in this whole equation because somebody keeps saying, you got to pay your fair share. We are paying for everything that is connected to consumption, right? So why is that so difficult for people to understand?
Coach.
So,
it's-
go ahead.
So not only that, I look at, for example, look at the exit that out of the going to the Orlando airport, MCO. It was a mess before, and it's getting better and better and better. And part of it is because Disney has taken they want to make sure that nobody has access to have to get in the ear of the people that are coming to visit. So they'll create packages where they have buses where they come in and they have their own little exit that they go through.
Yeah.
So you don't see a Disney bus on the line for you
Yes,
and I
yes,
to
yes,
check into
yes.
the airport and all of that
Right.
stuff. By the way, that's infrastructure. Do you think taxpayers pay for it? Or Disney say, hey, I want to do this, let's go collaborate. And I'm sure the governor is going to be like, look, you pay for this, I pay for this, I'll allow you to do that. That moves the economy. Anytime a company creates jobs and builds things, it's a good thing. Why would you penalize somebody that is helping create more jobs? To me, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, what were
So
you
no,
gonna say?
what I was gonna say is I agree where there are a lot of small businesses that will suffer from forcing people to raise minimum wage, but I don't know if that's the same thing for companies like Disney or McDonald's. So for example, if Disney were to pay every single employee 3 times the amount of money that they're making, it would not affect anybody's pockets at the top of the company. It would not, but it will help the people who are working to make Disney work. So then here's the problem let's say if I force everybody who's at that type of minimum wage job, they now have to make $100 an hour. Guess who goes out of business? It's not Disney who goes out of business.
Small business.
It's every other business who goes out. So there's a big difference between what happens with Disney versus what happens with the
Yeah,
other
but
companies. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm looking at the percentages. So, for example, yes, there's a lot of things that Disney has to do as far as building infrastructure, creating a better environment, a better customer
I'm
experience.
not a Disney fan, just so you know.
No, I'm just saying. Well, I actually like Disney. I like
love
Disney.
Disney.
No,
Yeah, I like Disney.
I worked there.
I mean,
I never worked there. I just went there a bunch of times.
I don't know about I love Disney.
I like Disney.
Maybe I went a little too far.
I was gonna say that was very heartfelt.
I don't know about I love this
Yeah,
thing, but
I
I
No,
like
I have no
Disney.
issue
I
with
don't have
Disney,
issues.
but I believe companies
Marvin has his favorite cup.
a Disney
It's
cup.
got Mickey
Oh,
and Minnie,
man. But I feel like
Haters.
when it comes to percentages, right? So
Yeah.
for example, I just want to know that if I'm the person who's making this thing run,
Yeah.
there should be zero reason why I get less than 1% of what the company is making as a collective, which is what Disney will pay all their employees.
Oh.
All of their
but-
employees
but-
put together, they make less
okay.
than 1%
I
of their
don't
profits.
agree.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a fact.
No, I don't, no,
That's a
no,
fact.
I don't
Yes,
think
they
so.
do.
Well, hang on.
Yes, they do.
So here's what happens, though. By the way, no, that makes no sense.
Do the math on the numbers. I'm telling you, I've done the math
Alright.
already.
You're
This is the
saying-
same thing with Disney.
You need
The
a
same
new
thing with
calculator.
McDonald's.
No,
All
you know
of these
what happened-
major.
You know
I'm
what
telling
happened to
you,
McDonald's?
yes.
Have you been to a McDonald's lately? By the way,
No, I don't go to
Have you been to?
McDonald's.
Have you been? Okay. By the way, here's what happened. Minimum wage keeps on going up. I saw my first job was at McDonald's.
Got you,
Yours
got
too,
you.
right?
Yes,
How
yes.
much did you make when you were working at McDonald's?
$7.
I made $5.
Yeah.
I was illegal. Just so you know. So it's a little bit different.
Got you, got
But
you.
guess what?
Yeah.
There was 3 cashiers. There was the person that used to take the order in the drive-thru, the one that handled the window and stuff like that. All of that stuff. There was a setup. What is that at the McDonald's right now? Do Do you know?
What do you mean? What is
They
the
keep on raising it.
Yeah.
So do you know what is there right now at the McDonald's when you walk in?
No. what
There's
is
not a cashier. There's maybe one person running the food back and forth. You know what you do? You go into a big thing and you order your own
And that's the
food.
part that most people don't get. So let me give you a different perspective.
They'll find a way to adjust.
Let me give you a different perspective.
small business can't.
Because
Yeah,
here's
I
what-
hear you, but
here's
I
what
don't-
want you to
I don't
understand.
agree with the
The money,
setup.
whenever money is allocated
Mm-hmm.
to anything, whether it's additional profits going to shareholders, whether it's a bigger bonus going to the CEO of the company, or money that's being used to hire better talent, or money that is being filtered down through payroll to the average person who's cleaning the bathroom, whatever. Here's what I want you to keep this in mind, right? So there is a pool of money that's coming in with certain level of consistency.
Got you.
What you're saying is a portion of that money is going to be removed from somewhere, right?
Yes.
Because it's got to go somewhere. So if it's going somewhere, it's got to be removed from somewhere.
Correct.
Now, there's a couple of choices that people can do. All right, so what do we do to make sure that the same level of cost is kept, the same level of profitability is kept? Remember, it's a corporation that is supposed to answer to the shareholders. By the way, we have a lot of people that, on terms of retirement, are truly depending on companies like Disney to do
Disney
well,
stock, yeah.
so that they can absolutely. And I'm not talking about the greedy old
Yeah,
man
no, I
who's
get
in
you,
Wall
I got
Street
you,
somewhere.
yes,
To
yes.
I am talking about the old lady who many years ago made the choice to say, "I'm all in with the mouse,"
Yeah.
right? And they now they're saying, "Well, how is listen, there was a lot
They
of
brought
pain
back
to go
Bob Iger.
around." They brought back the CEO for a reason,
Yeah.
right? And the moment the announcement was made,
Yeah.
the actual stock went up,
Went up.
right? So now, but let me go back to what I'm trying to say to you is that. So if money was supposed to go to profit, if money's supposed to go through traditional payroll, money's supposed to go to executives, and money's supposed to go to money's go to development, acquisition, you name it, to all of that. Now we're saying we're gonna take some of that, which is there's only two ways to go with that. Either is going to interrupt the disrupt the order of things, right? It's not gonna be what it was, and then the natural question have to be, how do we keep that for what it is, right? And so there's a couple of choices. Ticket prices go higher. They start charging you for everything, which
Like
which
Frontier.
it literally like it literally got to the point. I mean, the Bob Iger is it right?
Bob
Is it-
Iger.
Iger is his brought back. This is gonna be free from this point. That subscription is gonna be we're gonna reduce prices for this so and so, just to get again the same amount of people. The second thing that happens though is if payroll allocation, let's say it is for numbers that we can all understand,
Yeah.
right? Let's say the payroll allocation for this location was $100,000,
Got you.
right?
Yeah.
And now, we're saying we're gonna increase it to the point that it's gonna go all the way up to $120,000.
Okay.
The question is not, do we have the capability to handle 120,000? No, the question it becomes, how do we keep it at 100,000? Because right now they announced also that they letting go, right, 7,000 people. Now, to me, I find it amazing though when you're not letting go 7 people. I find amazing that you let go 7,000 people, no different than what Elon Musk ended up doing out of Twitter, letting go 3,500 people, and the thing is absolutely working better. Disney, the fact that they have the capability, that only represented 3%. It still is a lot of people getting laid off. Please, I don't want you to think that I'm insensitive about that issue, but I used to go back to my country. The first time I went back to my country, the cost of labor was so cheap that you would walk into any shopping store, right? You would go into what was a little bit of a mall, you know what I mean? You're buying jeans, you're buying clothes, right? Alexi, you will literally get annoyed. There was like 20 people. Can we get you some? Can we help you? Like literally, there was 20 people, and I would look around, and now I had already spent enough time in the country to say, there's only a few people working in that mall, right? Guess what? They started to force, literally, exactly the same principle, forcing companies. You got to raise your minimum wage. Then I went back, and it wasn't 20. It was like 8 people, right? And then they kept forcing, and you got to pay for this, you got to pay. I went back, and it was now 2 people. No different the way that you're. So
Self-checkout
the
at Walmart.
problem, though, the
Yeah.
problem is that this the pros and cons. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, forcing a company to do something, opposed to being something that has the capability to be. Because I agree with you. If the need is there, and it absolutely can be negotiated, right? And we can do it in a way that it can provide a better. Listen, nobody's making enough money right now.
Yeah.
I agree with you in that sense. But the problem is that cost, it will always go somewhere, to the consumer, to the employee. You're gonna have
Gotcha.
less people working.
And-
That's always my
No,
concern.
I understand.
You know
I
what
understand.
mean?
And I agree.
I've seen a lot of people
I
losing
agree
employment
that will
because of it.
happen,
Yeah.
but I don't think it has to be that way. Because what I think is what can also be an option, which they're not going to take, is there's a possibility that the person who made $100 million literally for doing nothing, they can only make $90 million.
But I don't know.
And
Listen,
here's the
I
thing:
don't
they're
know.
probably going to be like, "Nope,
No,
I'm keeping my $100 million."
all right, so-
because I forget everybody else. And the reason why I say this is an issue is because I feel like that person, if you allow them to, they will pay people nothing if they had the option to. And then now I'm not saying everybody's got to make $1 million for working at Disney. That's what I'm saying.
I think
but
that's that's a little dramatic.
Yeah, that's what I'm
that
saying.
was very telenovela.
Yeah, no. It's
They
gonna-
will-
it don't gotta
I
be
didn't
that.
know. I didn't know that.
They will pay them nothing.
Yeah.
No, they're not gonna
No,
not
they
pay
could.
them.
Yes, they
No,
would.
no,
Yes, they
no.
would. If Disney had
Listen,
the option to pay people
here's
nothing,
the beauty. Here's
they
the
would.
beauty of
They would give you free tickets.
I'm gonna tell you something.
free teacup rides
So-
and
so-
work
Let me-
here
let me
for a
prove-
month.
Let me prove a
Yeah,
point.
they would.
I want to
Yeah, they
prove a
would.
point, and then
They
I'll
would.
send it back.
I'm listening, but-
I want to prove a point.
Yeah.
COVID came and hit us,
Mhm.
right? And somebody came up to me saying, I still have, you know what I mean, we're showing up to work and all the other stuff. And I literally said to them, I said, this will be the best time for you to negotiate your next raise and your next income side. Because a lot of people are not willing to come to work. You are willing to come to work. He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, what do you know how to do right now? Well, I'm running this many stores for this company and so and so. Who's the next competitor? Like, what will be the next level for you? How many can you handle? Well, I can go from 3 to, I can literally probably run 7 to 10 of it, you know what I
Gotcha.
mean? I said, so why don't you go to that competition and say, this is who I am, this is what I do, I have the capability, I already learned to. I said, that guy probably right now is desperately looking for somebody who's ready to work. This will be the best time for you to negotiate the best. And by the way, tell him, I'm willing to do that, and I want you to look at your income and ask him for 3 times your income. I said, and don't be surprised if they actually agreed to it. Well, guess what? That's exactly what happened with this guy,
Yeah.
right? And so the market will always, there will always be a demand and supply. I don't want you, these days where somebody's gonna like not make any money, or it's gonna be so little that it have to be regulated to the point. The marketplace, now don't get me wrong, there are some executives that maybe are making, that like you said, not doing much.
Yeah.
Right, but it's a CEO, like a guy that just came back right now. If I'm a real big player, shareholder,
Didn't they fire the other guy?
yeah, the other guy was let
Fire
go.
the other guy.
The previous CEO was let
Wasn't
go.
his job.
This guy comes back and it's gonna take the company back to the best possible condition. He knows how to do that. You knowing how to do that, having the ability to take not a small company. I'm talking about, you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar
Yeah.
company.
Correct.
If you have the ability to do that, then your price, the price that you command in the marketplace, is got to be through the roof.
No,
It's gotta be through the
I
roof.
get that. I get
You
that.
know?
And like I said, I'm not opposed to people making a lot of money, especially if they are doing something that nobody else can do.
Correct.
I agree with that. All I'm saying is that I believe that there should be limits to what percentage that I can give out to the people who make this thing run. Why? And I'm talking about percentages, because they want to tell you in dollar amounts. Because here's the problem: I feel like if a company their profits triple, then the people who help run that company, their pay should triple. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. That's what I'm saying. It just should be, if we do more, we should make more. Same thing. If we do less, we should make less. If the whole company's suffering, don't pay me $15 and the company's going under. I feel like it should be according
No,
to
and so that was-
the performance.
And I agree,
That's what I'm saying.
but that exactly is, it comes into my point. What I
Yeah.
was trying to say is, what is the level of risk? And this is gonna sound, some people are not gonna like this, but it's like, what is the level of risk that somebody that comes in and clocks out, for 40 hours, what is the level of risk that they're putting on the line? What is the level of risk versus the CEO that says you suck, you get fired. You know what I mean? There's no level of risk. By the way, that job at Disney is not meant to be something that is permanent. It breaks my heart to see people
That's true.
that have been there for like 20 years and they have golden handcuffs because of the quote unquote great
Gotcha,
benefits,
gotcha.
Vince, right? They give them the union, so that's like a benefit that you're paying into. By
Yeah.
the way, you pay into the union. You have just kidding benefits. We have a friend that actually, well, not just kidding benefits. They are benefits,
Yeah.
but you know, somebody has great health benefits. Somebody was diagnosed with cancer. They were unable to work. They were let go of their job. They lost their health benefits. Guess what? What happens to that?
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, are they so-called benefits? So there's a lot of things that you're not meant to stay at Disney forever.
But you
And
get
so-
that. But Disney is selling them the dream of, we want you to stay here for 40 years.
No, but
yes,
but you worked at McDonald's.
All right,
and
so,
you
so,
stayed
let me,
there.
so
No.
let me play devil's advocate
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit here, right? Because one of the things that we have to do is we have to establish the difference between the small business owner,
True.
right?
That's true. We're
Who
fighting about
is
this.
taking
Yeah.
risk to the point that I can lose it all.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a different level of consideration. Or I mean, if
Yeah.
I'm a small business owner and I'm taking 100% of the risk, and I'm sometimes not paying myself to make sure that I'm paying you, right? That's a different animal. Yeah, 100%, right?
My parents. they
Yeah,
have
yeah,
bright
100%,
winners.
100%. We know what that looks like,
Yeah.
right? Opposed to a gigantic,
Yeah.
to your point, right? A gigantic corporation who again have to be responsible
Yeah.
to shareholders. Like, I don't want to take that lightly
I get
because
you,
again,
yeah.
I want to remind you that among the shareholders, right?
Is the employee.
And it's almost impossible to discriminate against one and the other. And it's not good for the marketplace when you start saying, well, that guy that has a lot of money and the old lady that doesn't, because everybody's going to get affected, but they're not going to get affected at the same rate, at the same level.
True.
The old lady who was all in, but that lady's going to get affected in a different way.
Yeah.
So we got to establish a little of that difference. But the thing is, listen, I'm absolutely okay with politicians that would argue for the benefit of. As a matter of fact, to me, that was the fact that unions have to be introduced to end up doing the job that politicians were supposed to do, which is to actually go out there and pursue,
Yeah.
fight for the best interests of the
Yeah.
people they represent. To me, that's fundamentally one of the issues that I have against unions,
Yeah.
right? Because what happens is now you have an entity that was created. And that's an animal that has to be fed, right? Financially, it has to be fed through
Correct.
ego,
So
it
you
has to
gotta
be
pay for it.
bought out. It's got to be, there's every deal that is on the table, under the table, seen that, been there,
Makes it
I know
less
exactly,
efficient.
right? But at the same time, here you are negotiating, even at that level, that gigantic level, with people that created a business structure within the business that doesn't really advocate for the benefit of the business.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's
And so that's you know that's extremely heavy
Yeah.
to understand. And by the way, and then you take that, and there's another worse component to the creation of these entities, which is then they become a political arm, right?
I
That
got you.
that can be used. Well, now we know obviously one specific party, but I will tell you. I know you said you had a question before
No,
we move
I have
on.
a
because
question.
wanna-
How much then, like, what's fair? If you were like Bob Iger, Alexi Iger,
Yeah.
how much are you paying entry level position in Disney?
So in collective, there should be no reason why it's less than 10%. Not per person, obviously. I mean in total. I believe it's 10% of that. Like I said, you don't believe that's the numbers? I think it's.
You're
I think
saying that 10% of all the revenue
Yes.
that comes into the company
Yes.
should be used for payroll
yes,
to improve
correct,
the payroll
correct,
of
correct.
people.
Correct.
Can we find out? Can
Yeah,
we
we could-
look,
we should
can
look
we
it up.
look it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we look
Yeah.
it up to see what percentage of the revenue collected
Yeah.
goes to payroll, and hopefully before we end this, we can report back.
Yes, that'll be good, that'll be
because, I mean, listen, there's somewhere in the conversation we're gonna come across a number that's gonna be
Yeah.
too high. Oh, surprisingly, we can come across a number
That's
that's too
true.
low,
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
But there is a number, and I don't
I agree.
mind. I don't mind approaching it from a percentage perspective,
Yeah.
because I think that will be a helpful way. But
Yeah.
then once
Yeah.
you agree to the percentage,
Yes.
who gets what?
That's no. I get it. And at the end of the day, I'm not a communist. I'm not saying everybody's gonna get the same amount.
Okay.
No.
That's why I asked the
it's gonna
entry
change.
level
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. So
I don't
like I
know
said,
how much,
yeah, I
like-
get you. I get you.
So-
There's still gonna be a ladder. It's not everybody's gonna be happy,
Got
but
it.
I think there's definitely room for them to spread some of that.
Here's the
That's my
message:
point.
if you're working at Disney, and
Don't.
like, please, no, like, find a way out. Pick up a level
I
of
agree.
skills.
Yes,
go
yes,
become an
yes.
entrepreneur.
Correct.
Get better, so
I'm
you have the
fighting for you,
opportunity
but-
to move up. But please don't wait for a raise. You
I
should
agree.
be able to have that
I
control.
agree.
We're gonna
I
go
agree.
back and we're gonna
Yes,
revisit
yeah.
that. But,
Yes.
but the fact that they lost a level of autonomy is
Yeah.
a big deal.
No, it is.
And the fact that they are playing games to even the conversation. Like, listen, this State of the Union was crafted to tell you more than just being a report.
I'm gonna need to read this.
Was,
'cause
was,
Give us more
well,
money.
here it is.
I watched it,
Was-
but I didn't read
was
it.
crafted to tell you. But by the way, I got nothing but respect. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I literally, wow, this is emotions, very emotional. I will definitely have a react. Like if I was
I
seeing
felt
like,
it. You,
whatever.
whenever he was talking about the airline,
Yeah.
when he's like, your kids shouldn't be baggage, I'm like, wow, that's
Yeah.
very well put.
But then we have this phenomenal
like him a
lady.
little bit.
Phenomenal.
That's
Let me just share with you how this actually opens. Right.
Okay.
This is how it's her response. Prepared delivery, full remarks
This is the
of
minority
the great governor of the state of Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and it says, "Good evening. I'm Sarah. Good evening. I'm Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Being a mom to 3 young children taught me not to believe every story I hear.
Okay.
So forgive me for not believing much of anything I heard tonight from President Biden."
Wow.
And here's the indictment that she's putting forward, right? From out of control inflation and violent crime to the dangerous border crisis and threat from China, Biden and the Democrats had failed you.
Mm.
They know it, and you know it. I was like, ouch! You know what I mean? That was like coming swinging with a baseball bat. The
Yeah.
problem, though,
Yeah.
and by the way, this lady,
This is too logical.
remarkable story.
Yeah.
You know, she's a cancer survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother was a cancer survivor who was told, "You'll never have children."
Oh, wow.
Yep. And she's
Right,
the kid.
and here it
Yeah,
is.
she said
Oh,
that.
wow.
The child.
Yeah.
Like, listen, her father was former governor of the same state, also.
Yeah.
Governor.
Arkansas.
Yeah, and he
Mike
actually,
Huckabee.
Mike Huckabee, who actually ran for president at some point. So it, and then my writing here is going to be not emotional enough.
Yep.
I love the idea
logical.
of American. She's like, I'm 40 and I'm the youngest governor in the country. He said, I have to admit that I don't have anything in common with President Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Said, I'm for freedom, he's for government control. And again, those things for anybody that has taken seriously the understanding of the fiber of the company. You look at that,
The country.
and man, of the country,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And you go like, ah.
Yeah.
Like,
But
like
what
I
if
put,
you don't get
but
that?
for the most person, it's like, well, what do you mean?
Because that's very logical.
Freedom? What freedom? What are you talking about? You know, he said the dividing line in America is no longer between right or wrong. The dividing line, the choice is between normal or crazy. But again, phenomenal
That's good, that's
indictment.
good.
You go through, you know, from CRT to obviously forcing parents to be exposed to the kind of education that children are being forced to be, and I can't even tell you how many times President Biden used the term pride, right? And she tells the story about when she, because she was also press secretary to the president. But my point to you is, she literally said, you know, one night, Christmas night, she said they got a call saying, we're coming to pick you up, take you to the airport. She goes to St. Andrews, no lights. Obviously, that's where the plane for the president is always sitting, waiting to take the president. No lights, so nobody knows where they go.
Yeah.
This is Christmas night, Christmas
Yeah.
Eve, right? And they put everybody on a plane. The president is already there. She's there. They are going to the soldiers to see. They went to Iraq, as a matter of fact,
Oh, wow.
to go have dinner with the soldiers. They didn't know that obviously the same level of darkness that they
Yeah.
left here. Also, the airport out there for nobody to know that they were
Yeah.
landing. The soldier, he said, they have absolutely no idea that the president and first lady were about to walk into that room. And when they did, it was a sign and a scene and a sound I hope I never forget. He said the room erupted, men and women from every race, religion, and region every political party, every demographic you can imagine started chanting in perfect unison over and over again, USA,
Nice.
USA, USA. She said it was a perfect picture of what makes our country great. One of the young soldiers yelled from the back, "Mr. President, I re-enlisted in the military because of you." And the president said, "And son, I am here because of you."
Nice.
Right? So now, in all fairness, there's a couple of people right now somewhere in Alabama or
It's been
Louisiana, real, well, not South Florida to the point that it gets to Miami, but there's a couple of people, Southerners, that are probably were like teary-eyed. People that somewhere somehow truly have become obsessed with loving this country. But there's a lot of people that this means absolutely nothing to. They do want to be told that everything is going to be okay, and we are going to fix it for you, and we are not going to let them take anything away from you. Don't worry about it, Alexis. We got you. You know what I mean? Gonna make sure. And if anything comes my way that is going to hurt you, affect you, and we're gonna veto that bill. And I'm listening to that, I'm like,
Things
bro,
don't-
this the.
bills don't come.
You know,
Hurt
it's
you.
like so.
Yeah.
I will tell you a few things that Republicans have gotten wrong. They have the better ideas. They don't know how to tell the story,
Yep.
and they don't know how to connect to
With
people. Right?
Regular people.
A couple of the things that they got extremely wrong. They don't know how to deal with this immigrant and immigration crisis in a way that doesn't sound like they just don't like people from other places.
That's
Right?
That's
They keep getting it wrong.
Well, I
Right?
felt that
You know what I mean?
my whole life.
Yeah. They keep
I mean,
getting
not
it
my whole
wrong.
life, but for like at least
Yeah.
17 years out of 22 that I've been here. So you're right.
And out of
yeah.
the 43 that you are.
Yeah. Just point
So
between.
no. My point is
Yeah.
they keep there's certain things that they keep they are not. Listen, you got to go from you speaking, then you actually communicating,
Got it.
and then you truly have to get to the point of connecting.
Yeah.
Right. It is Maya Angelou that says people won't remember what you said, but they will remember how you make them feel.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
And so if I'm looking at the two guys and I'm somebody who's going 100%, it's like
Yeah.
I'm going with the old man.
Yeah.
I'm going with the old man because that is every problem that I have.
Correct.
You mean I'm not even gonna pay for?
No, I get you. No,
Medicine?
he did good. He did good.
No,
Yeah.
no,
All the-
guys.
all the drugs were gonna
If
be
you
free.
read it, if
Yeah.
you read it, they go down to the nitty gritty detail of the additional $5 that sometimes you have to pay when you traveling, and they're gonna
Mhm.
charge you an extra whatever so and so. And I'm like, you're gonna take care of that for me too? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
what is it? The late fees at the bank.
Like literally,
That's
like we're
Disney.
gonna force it.
It's
We're
gonna
gonna
go from
reduce it to
39
make
to
sure
8.
it's in.
I'm like, seriously?
Not that your bank has ever been overdrawn, but we know a few people that go through that. So if you've
That's
ever been in
never
that
happened to
situation
me.
and you got a fee,
Never.
Yeah.
but I wanted to tell you that, guys, because it's extremely
Yeah.
important. You know what I mean? That was an eye-opening message. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that
Well,
was-
but there was a lot of eye-opening things.
Mhm.
I don't want to goof around too much with this thing, but the whole makeout session that happened there between
God,
our
yeah.
current vice president and
They're trying to be a little bit
I
more
didn't see
diverse.
it. Yeah, I didn't see it.
You know,
I mean the vice president's husband.
How
heard
was your
about it, but I
perception
didn't
when
see it.
like Americans were meeting? Like because Americans greet, well, they'll be like hi, or they like shake hands or stuff like that. For me, it was never like we kiss. For me, that was like a Spanish thing. So it's like I was very aware in
Well,
school
the
that you
world
wouldn't
is
say hello.
changing.
Like
The world is changing.
I understand it's changing, but from that to like full on like almost a makeup session, like this dude was like right after. Like it's like, yo,
I
what
don't know.
happened?
Yeah.
You mean you never kissed anybody by accident?
I kissed a girl and I liked it.
Oh,
Just so you know.
that was not on accident.
That was definitely not an accident. Listen, to be quite honest with you, I think it was just, listen, everybody's a little happy.
Yeah.
Heat of the
Yeah,
moment.
extra
Yeah, that's
I
funny.
think people are
I
making.
think Jill was drunk
They
and
just
she's like,
wanted
this is
to
the
make
only
it
way I
right,
can
but-
deal with it.
But there's another possibility. Everybody,
Yeah.
by the time they got there, they said, we're
Yeah,
gonna
they
need,
were a
we're gonna
little
need a little bit of alcohol,
That's
and
funny.
I don't know which
but
way
I,
it's
but
gonna
I
go.
wouldn't make much of it. I
Yeah.
think that I mean, come on.
It's
you're-
sad that became news.
Yeah.
worthy.
I know you kissed somebody, but one of you by
No, it
accident like, mwah,
Never.
right, and make that happen. But
If it was anybody, it was Lorena who kissed somebody.
Yeah,
by
it would make that
What?
happen.
You did not kiss me. Wait, I
No,
will
no.
go.
I'm
like,
saying
what?
you kissed somebody by accident. I didn't kiss
But in all
anybody.
fairness, in all fairness, I will tell you, my even coming into the country, there was certain things that it took me a while to
Yeah.
get used to. You know, like for example, in New York, everybody's like, "Hey, buddy," or
Yeah.
like you don't
You
do
don't know
that,
me,
and
right?
I'm like, why are you calling me buddy?
Yeah.
You don't know me. Like I had a guy that used to like
Yeah.
Pete. I'm giving you a shout out right here, Pete.
That's funny.
People go, "Hey, buddy, what's going on?" I'm like, "Pete, don't call me buddy. We don't know each other. Okay, can you please stop doing that?" It's like, okay, buddy, don't worry about it. I won't call you. Okay, and like every single
That's funny.
time.
And you
I
said that was
think
in New York.
That was in New York.
So my experience was completely different. For me, it was like that moving from New York to Florida, where everybody was just extra
friendly.
nice in Florida. I was like, why everybody so nice? It's like I feel like they're out to get you. Yeah, but yeah, I get you. It happens.
You know, I
Yeah.
think that
Oh, my brother.
that was just an emotional people get used to. You know what I mean? By the way, you know, you interacting. Traditions are different for different people.
Yeah,
so
cultures are
I,
different.
you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like my family, we men, we kiss, we double kiss. I mean, it's just different traditions. You know what I mean?
By the
now,
way,
I don't know.
like, I don't-
Now, I don't know if that was
don't think
connected to
parents should-
anything connected to tradition, but
No,
but
it was-
the
that was
fact
not
of the
tradition.
matter is
Yeah,
that.
that's something
it's weird.
different.
Anyway, guys, I just wanted to touch briefly about with this whole thing that's happening at that took place at the capital of Oklahoma. All the protesting that took place. What's your take on that?
So a little bit about the protest, just so you know, 150 people chanting "Trans Lives Matter" were protesting gender-affirming care. And there's two bills that they're protesting. The first one is Bill 129, which will ban anybody under the age of 26 to receive gender-affirming treatment, both surgical and non-surgical. And Bill 252 will prevent anyone under the age of 18 to undergo sex change operations. So here's where I'm at with that. This is a consequence, because 26 is too much for you to. At 26, you can go to war, buy beer, rent a car, like a bunch of different things. It's like you're already a grown up. Why do you have to wait till you're 26 to do that? I don't agree with that. But this is what happens when you poke a bear. So what's happening is we keep on seeing it in social media. We keep on seeing it in schools. You know that like they don't put the American flag, but they put the pride flag. You know that's not okay. You know they will put they're bringing children to what is it? Drag queen shows and stuff like drag queen storytelling and stuff like that. And you keep on seeing that more and more. So what's happening is, of course, you talk about the ultra conservative side that they're like, look at what is happening to the children. We have to put rules to prevent that. Here is where I don't like it. We kind of brought it upon ourselves. I want to make sure that I'm married to my wife, like legally married to my wife. I want to make sure that I'm able to continue to stay legally married. But because we're busy, by the way, I love drag queen shows. Like if you have you ever been to
Never
a,
been to a
no?
drag
Oh my God, we gotta take you.
You got it.
Oh my God,
I don't know
we
if I'm
have
ready.
to take you. I love it. It's the most fun.
Lots of glitter
Just so you know.
everywhere. Yeah, just so you know.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of drinking. It's a good old time.
Yeah.
Like pride parades are a lot of fun. Do I think a drag queen brunch or drag queen storytelling is a place for children? Absolutely not.
Gotcha.
You know, and that's where the line is. So there's a lot of people that are super angry and they're pushing against it and they're over adjusting. So now they're moving the law to over 26. That's not okay. I also don't think any teenage kid should be going under puberty blockers, and I don't think they should be going, or especially if they're below teenager, because there's a lot of people doing that as well. You know, and we're seeing more and more, just like we're seeing more and more people that identify as trans, we're seeing more and more people that are detransitioning as well. So
Yeah.
a lot of those
Seeing a
stories
lot
are
of
coming
that.
up.
Yeah.
And so it's really sad to see. I think children should be allowed to be children. And that's where I stand on the whole issue.
The
But
only thing I was thinking about this, right, is a lot of the same, like, so I believe you have the right perspective with the whole situation as far as, okay, I agree with this, but...
thank you for being
I agree with it, but I think there's limits to certain things. Like, for
Yeah.
example, certain conversations you shouldn't have with kids at all. The issue that I see that's going to come about is that the same person who wants to create these limits, I don't think they want it to be done at all. Like I don't like. So you're like, no, it just shouldn't be done if you're a kid. They're like, no, it shouldn't be done. Period. So we're gonna start here, but just give us some
No,
time.
and
we're
that's
gonna
not
we're,
okay.
we're gonna get
Well,
to the
There
point
are
where
people that
we
legit
can't do it at
have
all.
a
Can we
gender
give
dysphoria
it
and
a
they were
little-
born in the wrong body. So
Can we give it a little more perspective when it comes to, especially, again, age, right? You can't really own a gun legally
until you're
if you're not older than 18 years.
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't vote if you're, because
Until
we're
you're
not
18.
trusting you until 18. I mean, there are certain things that you're not allowed to do, you're not supposed to do. So if that is a factor there, why is this not a factor here? Guys, listen, I have this book here for a reason, right? Jordan Peterson got himself into all kinds of trouble precisely because he refused to use certain pronouns, you know what I mean? And he
And
said,
on
I don't have a
Twitter,
problem if you and I have a conversation and you would like me to call you in a very specific way. You know what I mean? I said that to all my Muslim friends, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't have a problem calling you guy a prophet, you know what I mean? As long as you don't call my guy a prophet. My guy is a Messiah, you know what I mean? He is the son of God, God himself. So let's, as long as we can play by the same set of rules, out of respect to you, I'll call you guy, or I'll call you whatever you want me to call you. What I don't want, and I agree with him, is nobody should be forced to or should be compelled to use certain language to be able to address anybody on any way, shape, or form. That applies to sex, gender, that applies to religion, that applies to so many other things that we got to be very careful with. And I'll tell you this though, you know, the significance of this moment goes back to precisely what you just said right now. You had people that are walking into this, and you have people that are absolutely walking out of it saying, this is not good, this is not healthy. As a matter of fact, just today, I just don't have the name of this lady, just today, somebody who was actually part of a group of people that formerly was helping children transition is like right now she became a whistleblower and she's saying I cannot do this. This is not
So-
what we're doing is not right. It's not the right way to go. You know what I mean? So it's something that we definitely got to be careful with.
So-
And my final thing out of that, just and then you can. My final thing out of that is I am never crazy about anything that creates all these tribal conditions where the is so identity strong that doesn't allow for the proper level of conversation. It does because this is just lack of. How about we all sit down? How about we talk about things we don't like? How about you know how many people already asked me? You know what I mean? Yeah, I have somebody I appreciate trying to get me to do the endorsement for LGBT. I always say TB.
Yeah.
LGBT. For the
I thought it was a couple
LGBT
more
It's not an
community.
LG.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
that.
It's exactly right. It's that. There you go.
No.
Feel like you had some letters.
See, if I would like to wear some,
Yeah.
listen, I have no issues with anybody. I believe there's good people and I believe there's bad people, right? I'm not promoting anything for anyone. You know, live your life, be respectful of other people, find a way to communicate your principles and your position about everything and anything, and stop trying to impose your system because a lot of the people that are playing bully today were the people that were complaining about being bullied for the whole life. A lot of people that are playing, that are victimizing other people, are people that are they're claiming we were victimized. Therefore what?
You don't get to victimize anybody.
How do you repeat the same wrong that was done to you? And you want to make that the argument as to why that. So
You can right or wrong with another
that's my issue with the whole.
Here's the
situation.
last thing that I would say, and why for me it's important for parents to be involved. Number one, and for these conversations to be up to the parents. And look at me, right? If I would have moved to this country right now, and I was 14 years old when I moved, more than likely, right about now, I probably would have been already transitioned because the way that I present, and so I felt that because, I never felt that way before. But because with the ideology right now, you can catch yourself being influenced and saying you're 14 years old. I should go into puberty blockers because I want my hair to be short. I should go into do a double mastectomy because it's like because it's awkward to have and so I'm grateful that I had the conversation from my parents and stuff like that to allow me to be who I am. I am married to a woman, you know, but also to allow the process of my development and growth as a person for me to be able to make a decision as an adult and say, you know what, I do have a condition I want to transition, or I'm just very happy the way that I present, and I'm happy to be a woman, you know, and so that. I think every child should have the opportunity to do that, and we shouldn't jump too fast into this whole process.
I agree.
By the way, that is it's becoming a business. That's the last thing that I would say is it's becoming a business because they become a client
Once
for life.
something becomes institutionalized, again, it's an animal. They have to be fed.
Now, in addition to that, is that somebody that transitions medically, they have to like they're taking hormones for the rest of their life. They're taking certain things that they have to in order for them to continue to. So it's a business on that side, and it's pharma is who pharma is. So we have to be very careful with
I agree what you're saying. I mean, a lot of people will go along with the process just because it feels like this will be the right. If I'm gonna ever do something like that, it feels like this is the right time to do it. Listen, this man put a lot of warnings about moments like this, things happening. But more than anything else, the reminding team to that conversation from Jordan Peterson was always, if we keep dividing ourselves, like where do we stop?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, the people that are too tall, the people that are too short, the people that are short and black, the people that are short, black and gay, the people that are short, black, gay, and where do we stop? You know what I mean? And so it's gonna get to the point where we're not gonna have a place where we can come together and communicate. That's to me, that's the biggest loss. The biggest loss is we don't have a place where people can actually feel free to express their ideas. And by the way, some people will do it intentionally. Some people don't want to have a conversation. Some people actually want to force their ideas upon other people, which takes me to what the hell happened with the Grammy. Can somebody explain to me what the hell is going on with this Grammy, with this show?
Yeah. So for me, this is nothing new. This ain't nothing new. They've been doing this.
You've seen it coming.
No, they've done it 100 times before. Like we can look back from Lady Gaga performances. We can look back at they've been doing this
Madonna.
since Madonna. Yeah. So we're talking about it now because it's now trendy to talk about things that are going on in the music industry. You know, on social media. But the music industry's been crazy from before I was born.
The hypocrisy, because again, to accuse, Judaism, to accuse Christianity, to accuse even Islam, you know what I mean, to accuse them of being unreasonable, to being intolerant, to being religion imposing, and for them to actually take this position that now is being imposed over people that just like art. I love music.
Yeah.
If you listen to the stuff that I listen, you're gonna be confused because there's I love
I can vouch for that for sure.
Upset for, oh man, I don't know if it's gonna.
I'm outing you. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I can't handle the whole. You know what I mean? My dog jump in my truck and somebody that I can't handle the whole thing. But other than that, I listen to everything. Yeah. And there's a lot of people in there that I don't like. On what they are trying to impose over people, what they're trying to project, but I love their music, but it gets to a point where you have to separate from that level of craziness, right?
So here's the thing that's crazy about it, and I don't want to spend too much time, but I'll say this: we got to know that there's people who have very specific agendas, right? And not always is that agenda something that we agree with.
What do you think?
So the agenda is to go way past the limits so that I can accomplish what I want to accomplish. So what I mean by that is this. So we were just talking about, should certain things be allowed for children? Right? Mm-hmm. The people who are pushing this idea, they want everybody to be crazy all the time. Whatever you think the limit is, we're going to go so much further past that. Right? You can see from I remember when I was young, it was a big thing to even see like people kiss, and it wasn't like a rated R movie. Now, you pretty much cartoons.
You're like nobody's having sex in this movie? I'm working out.
Correct. So they want it to be
that. You're too old school, bro.
I know, right? But they want it to be that crazy on purpose. Why? Because if I can get you to start allowing that, then I can get you to do anything. You know, and so what is their agenda? They just want it to be no rules for anything anywhere. So the more I can get away with, then the more I can get away
Here's
with.
what I have witnessed,
Mhm.
right? And I will tell you, like,
Yeah.
truly paid attention, because when I'm asking a question
Yeah.
is, what are the intentions, right? So there's a couple of things in
Yeah.
play. One of them is there are people that they know that everything becomes truly a game of inches, right?
Mhm. Yes.
So I'm gonna come up with something crazy that is so far at the end of the table that everybody's gonna go, whoa. Okay, you know what? You're right. Yeah. Now I can actually
Sorry.
come across as a reasonable person. You're right. Let me pull it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm already halfway to
Absolutely.
the table.
Absolutely.
And I already
Yes.
got there. And I got you there. And I got you to agree that that was the right place to
Yep.
be. And then just give me a little more time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try again to the end of the table, see
Yeah.
what happens, because
Absolutely.
I'm already halfway there. So that's one way of doing things. The second thing is that the whole philosophy of, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? And you have some people that are so sold out against certain things, conservatism. They so sold out against religion. They so sold out against anything related to God through any religion that you can put in there, however you conceive into it. They so sold out against that what they're trying to do is they're trying to. It's not so much that they are actually pushing something forward. They're just fighting against
I agree.
something.
I get
It's
you.
like I'm not trying to make
Yeah.
something good, because guess what? If I open my little church of Satan, you know what I mean, and I start preaching out there about no matter what, I'm gonna burn you a little harder than you think you're gonna get burned right now. At some point, you're not gonna like it just because I'm turning it into a religion
Yeah.
that is going to question your morality.
Yeah.
And people that don't want that to see happening, they're not doing it because they want to promote something. They're
Yeah.
just doing it against
I
the
get
one
you.
thing they don't
Absolutely.
like. And they
I
don't
agree.
So
I agree. But there's nothing new to me. They've been doing this for a long
It's,
time.
it's not new.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
You can see the envelope being pushed a little
Yeah.
more and a little more at a time. At the end of the day, here's the way that I look at it, and it goes back to money. How many people are actually watching the Grammys right now?
yeah.
How many people are watching the whatever award shows there are, the Oscars, the VMAs, all these different things. And I think they make up for profit because of this clickbait thing that are
Controversy-
happening. So they
controversy
have
sells.
to do this
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
then how
need
are
the
they gonna make the
controversy.
money?
Yeah.
And they gotta keep the 85-year tradition.
we wouldn't be
on
talking
however
about it
many
right now
years.
if
Yeah.
it wasn't
That's
because of
precise.
something
If
like
it was
crazy like this,
vanilla,
you know what I mean?
we
So-
wouldn't be talking about it.
Yeah,
So they're
yeah.
getting exactly what they want.
I think that's part of it.
But you know what's funny? I want to actually go back a little bit, but just outside of this craziness, to what you stated in terms of McDonald's and how they're going through changes, right? The fact that you actually have less people. As a matter of fact, the other day somebody told me that there was no one at the register, just people working.
Giving
you
the
know what I
food,
mean?
yeah.
Exactly. Nobody at the registers.
You can pay
So-
cash.
And so that now I think we should transition a little bit to what the hell is going on with Chat GPT.
So I got mixed feelings about this
Go
whole
ahead.
thing. The world's
I
about
wish
to
I
end.
had it to do homework.
Just so you know, it's over.
Find a window.
Yeah.
Jump out the building.
Nah. I don't believe
We're all
that.
hanging out with Sam Smith now. Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
that's it. No, so honestly,
I do need to set up my church.
No, honestly, I think with the whole thing with AI, I'm not a full believer in it yet.
Yeah.
I'm not a full believer in it yet. I don't believe we are advanced with it as they're saying that we are. But I think it's something to pay attention to. I could see the potential of it. Because pretty much the big thing that I've been hearing is going to take away all of our jobs. It's going to replace a lot of things. I don't think so.
I don't think about all of it. I don't think about all of it. And right now though, you know what I mean, that it's being tested.
Yeah.
And it's being tested by a lot of people
Yeah,
just to try to come up with a lot of crazy stuff. You've seen that it's either unable or actually showing the flaws that
Yeah.
come from the difference between data that has the capability to process through literally the idea of artificial intelligence is that it is capable to come to certain conclusions,
Yeah.
right? But now we witness some of that through search engines and stuff like that. The other side is that it's also showing clearly, you know what I mean, that specific data has been placed into it, which is also creating a specific position about
Yes,
certain things. And
yes.
what I mean by that is,
It's woke.
what I mean by that is, but this thing was actually asked to write a poem about Donald Trump.
Okay.
And it literally said, I don't have the content that can generate and promote anything that can potentially come across as demeaning any individual group. Meaning, if you have to write something about Trump, he couldn't do it
Yeah.
without calling the blacks, the gays, somewhere somehow,
Gotcha,
right?
gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
And the criminal Mexicans that are
Yeah.
coming across the border, right? So, and so he refused. I'm the bean here, okay, just so that you know. So. It refused to do it. It just didn't do it. But then when it was asked to write a poem about Joe Biden, it happily complied.
Oh wow.
I don't know what it looks like yet. I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
but it decided said that it was okay to do it. So, but going back to this thing though,
Who's
you know,
feeding it?
Well, that's the big question.
all right. So
'Cause that's
I
what I'm
appreciate you asking the
Yeah.
question, right? So founder, creator, right? Obviously, there's a group of people. There's a team working on that. By the way, just so that you know, and most people already know, Elon Musk is one of the co-founders, partners. But if you go back, I don't know. You can go back a few years. Every time Elon Musk was asked a question about AI,
Yeah.
you know, he looked like he was immediately his facial expression changed to the point that he looked constipated, right?
Yeah.
And he started to say things like, I literally like his voice was cracking, going, you know,
It's gonna be the end of the world.
we've been working, I've been working, we've been working on it for a couple of years now, and it's growing at a rate that is absolutely alarming. Like the guy is like
Yeah.
giving everybody
Yeah.
a fair
Creating a
warning.
monster.
Yeah.
This thing is going to. But by the way, we don't know how it's going to.
So-
And the problem is when you have something that has the ability to control systems. Imagine something that has the ability to shut down the power grids.
Yeah.
Imagine that you have something that has the ability to control air navigation. Next thing you know, we are all going.
Yeah.
Imagine. I mean, you can go on.
Shut down
Imagine
your
if it
car.
has the capability to forget about shut down your account, your car. Deployed every nuclear bomb there is somewhere
Yeah.
on the planet.
Yeah.
Say, you know what? I think I had enough of these people.
Wow.
So,
Just clean it
and
up.
the thing that's crazy about it is
man.
this. Is I believe it's already started and we're past the point of no return. So I think what
I agree.
Elon Musk understands is he's going to be at the front of this technology because it's happening whether he wants
Yeah,
it to or not.
yeah.
Now, whoever is in the front, they're going to become the most profitable people on the planet. Like the
Yeah.
things that, like I was actually watching something on the Chat GPT where they created an algorithm for it to figure out what stocks to buy, right? And then they was able to use that algorithm, upload it into their system to buy stocks. Within like a couple days, they was making more money than they ever made ever. So
The
little things like
ultimate
that.
manipulation.
Yeah,
of the
the
system.
little things like that you're gonna be able to do with it is gonna be no person's brain can compete with the AI when AI is done correctly.
Can
So-
we see something positive out of it though? Can we
Absolutely.
Can we see
Absolutely.
communications
Yes,
improving even more?
yes,
100%.
yes.
Can we see transportation
Yep.
Getting better.
improving even more,
Yes,
becoming more
absolutely.
efficient?
I agree.
Because you have something that has the capability to say, no, you had it all wrong. That's
Yeah.
not the most efficient way to.
Waze is trying to be too efficient right now. It'll take you like 4 miles
That's
out
funny.
to save you 15
Yeah.
seconds.
Waze is
You
off
know,
the
so we
chain.
definitely
It
need
will
some
tell you.
ChatGPT in the
That's
traffic.
funny. So it's gonna be good and bad sides to it, like everything else.
That's
I like it though.
100%.
I'll take the AI. I'll buy one as soon as I can. I'll get me a pet before I get a kid. I'm gonna have a robot, just so you know, where it's the smartest thing on the
Ditto, I'll be
planet.
with
Yes.
you.
I want to. What is it from Star Wars? R2D2.
Well,
I
you're
need one
already a
of those.
cyborg.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're
True.
already your
True.
cell phone is an extension of you.
Yeah.
Just
That's true.
try to function without it.
You
You know what I
can't.
mean?
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
You
you
know
know
how
what
to
I mean?
get places.
So, listen, the way I see it is that it is the price of evolution. You know,
Yeah.
it's inevitable, and some good things are going to come out of
Yeah.
it, some bad things are going
Yeah.
to come out of it. We
I
just
think
gotta
more
get
Do
than
you
there.
trust?
anything-
Let me ask you: do you trust somebody like Elon Musk being at the front of it?
I'll take it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'll
absolutely
take
do.
it. I'll take it.
I think that Elon Musk has been poorly treated by most people, and his negative public opinion it has been the result of a very effective negative campaign against the guy.
Yeah. By the way, I
Okay,
have
so-
loved the guy since PayPal.
Yeah. I ended up buying a Tesla because of you.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
Look at
think.
that.
And now I'm like, yeah, it sold me the dream, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta charge it.
Yeah.
Not buying a Tesla.
No,
Yeah.
but
I
point
like
to you is that just listen. You have somebody that's really out there in
Mhm.
terms of their capability. If I was able to do a fraction of what this man has been able to accomplish,
Yeah,
people
it's
will look
like
at
15
you.
lives in
Yeah,
one.
you're talking about
Yeah, it's
from the things that are just outside of the normal. And this administration also, I do struggle with the fact that, the fact that they know that he leans a little more, the fact that he ended up doing what he did with Twitter, right, which is right now exposing a lot of people,
Yeah,
right?
big time.
And the fact that this is a guy that is just always operating outside of the box.
He
you
doesn't
know what
want
I
to be
mean?
controlled.
Exactly.
I like it.
It's a good
So-
thing.
The biggest thing I would say about all of this,
But I don't know that he's
technology-
gonna control it.
He can't.
Meaning, no, and I don't mean just the actual system itself. Just like everything else, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? A project is going to evolve with a lot of people have to get involved.
Yeah.
And you can supervise it to a level.
Yeah.
No different than what he does with Tesla, Twitter, and SpaceX and all of that. Eventually, there's going to be a bunch of people that will be hands-off and autonomous enough where only God knows what's going to come
Yeah.
out of it. You know?
Yeah.
So,
So I think we just got to pay attention to what's going on because we'll miss
Keep a
it.
gas car.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know, but
No. Forget about even the flashlight. Keep some candles at home, just in case we have a
that's
full blackout. one
Yeah,
of these
I know. True.
Anyway,
True.
with that being
The
said,
baby Jesus candle. That goes
yeah.
Those are my favorite.
Any fun? We gotta get out of here, guys. You guys have nothing better to do. We gotta.
No, go ahead.
No,
What were
we
you gonna
have
say?
work to do. Yes.
So
ahead.
no. Go ahead.
No, I was just
Final
gonna say
thoughts?
no. The biggest thing I would pay attention to is you got to be in the know, because like I have somebody in my family where to this day she still doesn't know how to use a smartphone, right? And I'm like, you're so much further behind in
Yeah.
the world
Correct.
if you don't know how to use this.
2-year-olds know how to use a smartphone.
Correct. But there's still a lot of people. Imagine this. Think how many people in like that you know who don't know how to use Zoom.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm
So
saying?
annoying.
And it's like
Yeah,
what?
that's
How
true.
do you not know?
Yeah.
So I feel like I don't care what it is.
I
AI,
remember
Yeah.
my children telling Dad,
You got to do it.
it's time to give up the BlackBerry. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So regardless of whether we like it, don't like it, we have to keep up with the technology. Or if we're gonna fall further and further behind, you know, it's always gonna be a good and bad side to everything. My point is you always want to be informed and what's going on and find a way to make it to your advantage. You know, that's how.
How
I
do you
look at
use
it.
it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Thoughts overall for
Yeah.
me? Okay. You know what? It's interesting times. And with interesting times it takes you being in the know, more involved. For parents, talk to your kids. You know, it's
yeah.
like you need to make sure that you're involved. There's a lot of children that are being grown by YouTube. That's not healthy, so if there's a message for me, especially with everything that we spoke about, at the State of the Union, like read into it, look at it, fact check it yourself, don't let anybody else come in and tell you what it is.
Correct.
What's happening in Turkey and Syria is terrible, and it's so sad to see. But yeah, for me it's just that it's making sure that everybody is, like you're saying, in the know, and that you are aware and intentional with the decisions that you're making. Even more and more now, because it's very easy for you personally to get lost.
Yeah.
So find a way to be yourself. But
Yeah.
remember that you're you, not somebody else telling you who you are.
True.
1,000%. I wanted to mention the situation that was going on with Nicaragua because, again, it's highlighting the many crazy things that are taking place throughout, South and Central America, right? Again, socialism, dictatorships, a lot of these things that when you're thinking about why is it that these economies are not able to move forward? Why is it the United States doesn't feel comfortable doing business
Nicaragua.
with a lot
What
of
did they do
with a
now?
lot of these countries? Well, again, you know what I mean? You had a guy that became a dictator who eventually convinced everybody he was going to become, there was another government in between. He ran again for president, begged everybody to give him the opportunity that he was going to be a different guy. By the way, is the country had some level of improvement, you know what I mean? It's just, but eventually he made it very clear, you can come in here as a company, mind your business, literally mind your business, and stay out of politics, we're going to be good. Right. The problem is that, after many years, and he's behaving again as a
This
dictator.
is Nicaragua.
This is Nicaragua. This is Ortega. I mean, it's unbelievable to win it. But the problem, though, is that once you actually have an opposition that has built up enough clarity and enough perspective to say, we need free elections. We need something that allows for other people. So when Daniel Ortega is sending 222 people to United States because they don't agree with his position politically.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Yeah, that's a problem.
first of all, you have them as prisoners, and then you're sending them out of the country,
They're
and
political prisoners.
you are literally going to the extent of canceling out their citizenship. Imagine that somebody's so angry with you, you're in the United States, and said, Alexi,
Send you back.
you're Mexican now. Well, I don't know who's gonna take you.
Yeah.
I don't know who's
Yeah,
gonna take
yeah.
you, but you're not an American right
Yeah,
now. That
I get
literally just
Yeah,
happened here.
That's an issue.
And the fact that nobody's going, what? What do you mean that just happened? The fact that we have a bishop, I'm asking the College of Cardinals, I'm asking every single bishop in this country, I'm asking the Pope, we don't need to be a church of cowards. Okay, they said we don't need any more martyrs, right? It's time to step up and do something, make it very clear that it's not okay for them to take anybody, by the way, but especially somebody who has dedicated his whole life to serving people, right? They should be treated a little different, a little better. Final thing that I want to tell you though, we got to start getting ready for this presidential elections that are going to be around us. Happening soon. You know, you're gonna see more and more people making announcements. I think that next week a few people, including Nikki Haley, were talking about that. I'm listening to a lot of conversations, a lot of warnings against DeSantis or given to DeSantis for his own benefit. Or at least that's what everybody's saying, which is don't let Trump drag you to the mud. You know, I mean, I don't know if you know a picture that was circulating when he was a professor and I believe it was a high school professor that he was, and he's sitting on a sofa with like 3 high school girls, and
Oh, wow.
looks like everybody's having
No,
a
I
drink,
didn't see
and
it,
it just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But by the way, everybody has a picture like that.
True.
Stop it.
I
You
was
know what I
gonna
mean?
say,
And you
yeah.
can call it whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it, right?
That's true.
And it could have been just like I'm sitting there, man. I was involved in real estate. I remember I had a very good year. I came in as the number 1 person, the producer for that
Yeah, you
year,
have a picture.
right? And they say, okay, we're gonna take some pictures, and I'm
That's
standing
true.
there. Next thing I know, I got a bunch of half-naked
Yeah.
girls next to me. I said, I'm gonna have to hide this magazine for a long time, right? So
We're gonna
so,
find it and we'll put it in the picture.
so my point to you is that you know
Yeah.
like, I'm not concerned about things like that.
Yeah.
But already gives you an idea of. By the way, that's how Trump got elected. Let's face it. He went through how many candidates, how many
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed.
Republican, how many,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? How much,
That's good.
it was painful to watch politicians that had been
Walk
in
right
politics
into
their
it.
whole life.
Yeah.
And I remember even Marco Rubio, it was just hanging in there. Ted Cruz was hanging in there like they're not going into it. He knows
He's ready to
how to
fight.
take you into the mud.
Yeah.
He's the ultimate, like your mama.
And that's and you're gonna lose the
Trash
fight.
talk.
And,
That's
and so here's what they're telling Ron DeSantis. They telling him, don't fall for that.
Don't you
Yeah.
mama.
Don't let it die.
Yeah, don't
But you
play
know
that
what?
game. Yeah.
Here's can I tell you something, guys? That every time somebody went after her, he pushed back
Yeah.
and he won. Right? So now I don't know what happens when you go into listen, this whole situation with Disney.
Yeah.
This whole situation with the education system, this whole situation with specific things that they wanted to impose
Yeah.
to children, which is pretty similar to, I mean, he already went through these things
Yeah.
and he won. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to see what's going to come out of it. The guy is emerging today as the number 1 contender.
By the way,
Uh,
didn't the whole Reedy Creek thing get reassigned now?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's going to be the
he
one.
kept his promise.
He kept his promise.
He's
He's
like, you
gonna
go
make it
woke.
happen.
We're gonna.
With that being said, we appreciate you hanging with us.
Yes.
These guys like to talk a lot. We got to get a handle of this
That's
conversation.
funny.
But we appreciate you coming. If you see any of this helpful, valuable, or at least entertaining, if we're not learning anything,
Correct.
but we hope you are. We hope you're gaining some perspective. We hope that, listen, we're not this sophisticated. I love the fact that somebody said, this simpletons, you know what I mean? This Yeah, I love that. I'm the average guy.
I feel like
who
you
does-
cursed me
I'm
out.
the average guy who decided to have a conversation
Yes,
with a
yes.
couple of friends that sometimes, half of the times, with half of the things that we talk about, if we say it too fancy, it's like we don't know what that means. Right? And so I hope you're part of that
I
camp
barely speak
that's
English.
trying to say, thank God they're having a conversation where I don't need a dictionary
Correct.
to process. That is us. We just decided to pay attention. We want to see everybody
Mm-hmm.
doing better. We want to see you doing better. So join us in this conversation.
Yep.
Comment, share.
Yes.
Subscribe.
There you go.
And like let us know whether you like it or hate it. And then also like drop a note if you want that picture of Marvin.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Let's do
I
it.
feel like she
That
has
was-
it just in case.
I,
You know,
blackmail
that-
material, you know what I'm saying?
that was classified. It was, we have to do that. So with that being said, guys,
Yes.
we thank you for watching, and we are going to put a couple of videos business-wise and things for your consumption. But
Awesome.
Have a good
guys,
one.
thank you.
Yep.
Good seeing you. Thank you.